Before we start on converting you from the way you practice medicine today to the future or the immediate future in which how you should practice medicine, and I call it the practice of lifestyle medicine. That is the focus of today's conference also. A lot of it would be on salt, but I thought we should set the ball rolling, giving you an idea of what lifestyle diseases and lifestyle medicine is. Before we start, how many people watched yesterday's match? Raise your hands. Oh, quite a few. Who was the man of the match? Virat Kohli. A vegan, sleeps for 8 hours, is not bothered about what you talk about him, emotional stability, exercises unlimited, so health conscious, and one of the reasons why he's so successful. Who took the catch? The famous last over catch, Surya Kumar. Again, a vegetarian, has a special nutritionist to look after his health, and a sports exercise person to take care of his health. So if icons are the ones who could shift people into thinking the importance of lifestyle, then yesterday's match provided us with, can we, no. Yeah, right. But anyway, we are in Chennai and we should be talking about CSK. And like MSD, we have RC, and he's going to lead the main match of ours. But he, like CSK, also has a lot of Mumbai people into it. So he decided that let the opening batsman be from Maharashtra. I think Rituraj Gaikwad opens for CSK, so I'll try and see if I can open for this conference. Anyway, we have progressed a lot as a species, and the risk of this progress is seen in the form of how sedentary lifestyle, we are paying a price for it, and we call it lifestyle disease. But is it lifestyle disease, or it's a diseased lifestyle which we are following? Look at the way we were playing earlier and look at the way we play now. We used to take our dog for walking in a different way than we are taking today. And who are the saviors of our nation? In Mumbai, at least we don't waste any time, and we believe in spending quality time everywhere. So, which the result is that instead of a tree of life, we have a tree with the diseases. And look at the roots. And the roots of this tree actually defines how these illnesses come up. And that's what we are paying a price for in the form of lifestyle diseases. If you have read about the biblical four horsemen of the apocalypse, and they were what? War, famine, plague, and death. And which are the four horsemen today? Coronary artery disease, cancer, neurodegenerative disease, metabolic problems, and so on. So we thought, oh, we are, there is suddenly somebody has got a heart attack. No. We do years of preparations for it. And this is the place where lifestyle medicine comes up. So everybody is aware what are lifestyle diseases. They are health conditions primarily caused by the way people live their lives, including all of us. And if we shift to our focus to practicing lifestyle medicine, it's basically a field of taking care of the root causes of disease rather than just treating the symptoms, and salt being one of them. So root causes: what we eat, how we move, what chemicals we choose from, smoking, alcohol, etc., and how we deal with stress. We are aware of the statistics, and it's easily available to all of you all, and in 20 minutes it will find difficult, but some of these statistics have already been talked about by the previous speakers. 71% of global deaths are due to non-communicable diseases, but important to know that 14 million premature deaths occurring at age groups where they should not be dying. And cardiovascular disease, cancer, these are the leading causes of death, and we are aware that the same thing happens. Since it's going to be a salt campaign, high sodium is the dietary risk factor for the largest impact on health, and we talked about it. But the low consumption of healthy foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains also puts people at high risk of cardiovascular disease. 80% of all premature deaths are attributed to these three factors, of which poor diet is related to more deaths than tobacco, high BP, and dietary habits account for 1 in 5 deaths globally. Now, there are many lifestyle diseases, but I think these are the common ones which we generally come across. Have you seen this movie called Unchai? It's with Amitabh Bachchan, Anupam Kher. And so they are at the age where they want to reach the Mount Everest base. And they actually succeed in going there. Look at the grandfather. He wants to play with his grandchild. Do you want to be having your grandchild looking after you in your death period, or you want to play around with that? If you want to play around, then you should change your focus from lifespan to health span, and the period of life which you spend in good health, free of all the chronic disease and disabilities of aging. And that is where all these lifestyle changes or lifestyle diseases knowledge helps. Somebody already pointed out before me that how should we practice medicine? There comes a point where we need to stop just pulling people out of the river. We need to go upstream and find out why they are falling into the liver. This is what Bishop Tutu actually mentions. So don't allow them to fall in river only. And we know that 63% of deaths globally are due to cardiovascular disease. And 50% of men, 64% of women are not even aware that they have the heart disease. They didn't have any symptoms. So the focus today is to change your current healthcare system where doctors are involved only once the damage has occurred. Instead of that, you prevent heart diseases, cancer and dementia, diabetes, etc. by acting as soon as possible. You heard of Warren Buffett? He talks of the importance of compounding. And no wonder that these small risk factors over the years will get compounded into an unstoppable asymmetrical catastrophe. So my plea would be to start making those changes much earlier in life. And that is what we have to teach our patients also. So start practicing lifestyle medicine rather than the standard medicine which we are all used to practicing. And that's where the physicians, the family physicians and the primary care physicians would have to change their focus in the next, not just decade, in the next couple of years itself. And your focus will have to be on diet, weight management, sleep hygiene, smoking cessation, physical activity, and so on. It will not be a single person's job. It will be the help of other people. What is this epigenetics? We always thought that, no, it's not that diabetes, heart disease, and obesity runs in your family. It is that no one runs into your family. And you are what your grandparents ate. So epigenetics has come up in a big way today, and we have realized that it's a study of changes in organisms caused by modification of gene expression rather than alteration of the genetic code itself. So this is something which we all have to learn, that your genes are not your destiny, your lifestyle is your destiny, and the changes you make today will change your future. And diet, exercise, sleep, obesity, etc. the main thing. So gene explains 10% variance in health. Epigenetics explains 70 to 90%. So try and focus on these things. I've talked a lot about trying to tell you that it is important, but does lifestyle medicine work? And there are many, now a lot of data is there to tell you that it does help. So the Diabetes Prevention Program, DPP, and the DPPOs, the Prevention Program Outcome Study, clearly showed that in DPP, they showed that including diet and exercise significantly will reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes in high-risk individuals by 58% compared to metformin, which will be only 31%. And same would be persisting over 15 years, where lifestyle intervention will show that it reduces the incidence of diabetes much more than even metformin. This is an age-old trial by Dean Ornish. I think it's somewhere around 2001, 2007 published, which showed clearly how the effects of comprehensive lifestyle changes on coronary artery disease. There's a lot of work otherwise also there. And we are all familiar with how hypertension control, what is the effect of lifestyle changes in it. The physical activity will bring down the blood pressure 4 to 9 millimeter, DASH eating or dietary change 8 to 14, sodium restriction, alcohol consumption, weight loss. So there is adequate proof by changing lifestyle you can control blood pressure. And today's guidelines, whether it is for hypertension, diabetes, CKD, diabetes and CKD, you take any guideline, NASH guidelines, fatty liver guidelines, everywhere, the base of all chronic disease management is lifestyle change. So that's what the importance is, and therefore, we should start practicing the 6 pillars of lifestyle management: nutrition, physical activity, sleep, avoidance of risk substances, stress management, social connection. So starting from diet, we are aware that the food you eat can either be the safest or most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. We have enough proof of diet coming in or nutrition role in it. The standard DASH diet, which has shown it lowers the risk of adverse cardiac events, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. Diet high in fiber and vegetable consumption will reduce ischemic stroke by 23%, heart disease by 23%, hemorrhagic stroke by 15%, esophageal cancer, and so on. So Indians actually consume less than 5 daily servings, which is actually advocated. I think our average is around 3.5. So we need to work upon our diet. What should we eat? I think ICMR has come up with good guidelines now. We should eat ideally healthy diet as 2,000 kilocalories. This is, of course, just a guideline. It should have 250 grams of cereals, 400 grams of vegetables, 100 grams of fruits, 85 grams of pulses, and 35 grams of nuts and seeds. In general, if you look at salt, sugar, and oil, which is easier to explain, you should have less than 5 grams of salt, less than 5 cubes of sugar, and less than 5 spoons of oil in your daily affairs. I think 2-3 days back only there was a headline in Hindustan Times and Times of India. This is basically the Lancet study which shows that Indians are failing to meet the standard of physical activity. 1 in 2 Indians do not meet the required physical activity. So we have a long way to go. And sitting is now considered as the new smoking. Actually, a lot of people believe of the 5 or 6 main guidelines or the pillars, the biggest is lack of activity. So inactivity related chronic disease and disabilities is very well known. Globally, 1 in 4 adults do not meet the global recommended levels of physical activity. In India, 1 in 2. So people who are insufficiently active have a 20 to 30% increased risk of death compared to people who are sufficiently active. How much should you exercise? I think the standard is 150 minutes of a week, or 150 minutes per week of a moderate intensity exercise, or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise for most health benefits. The STRIDE study actually is for stroke prevention. They have shown how exercise helps in reducing stroke. Yoga, we do not have many convincing studies except 1 or 2 which we found, and does show some improvements. Sleep cycle, at least Mumbai is considered as a city which does not sleep. Chennai, I thought, was better. When I came, I thought Chennai is, the traffic is as bad, but otherwise people are a little more relaxed and the traveling time is less. People are interested in arts, music, culture, etc. So South India, I thought, would be better off. Then I realized that the ICMR India Diab study shows that the highest incidence of diabetes is in Kerala, Pondicherry. Of course, it defies regional areas, but it goes to many places. Goa, Sikkim, Punjab, Chandigarh, these are the high diabetic prone areas. So I think India as a whole has problems. So sleep, at least it's not restricted to Mumbai only. 10% people have less than 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. 21% are getting less than 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And 28% said their sleep quality has deteriorated post-COVID. That we are all aware. So in general, we need to catch up on sleep in a much bigger way. And there is scientific evidence of how sleep also helps in reducing the incidence of non-communicable disease. The risk of developing hypertension was 1.2 times higher than individuals with no insomnia. And there is enough data to show how it changes the immunity and inflammation if you have lack of sleep. So social connection, I think we are all aware of it. And if you have meaning and purpose in life, you may be better off. Smoking, only about 1 cigarette per day carries the risk of developing coronary artery disease and stroke much greater than expected. There is no safe level of smoking exists for cardiovascular disease. Smokers should aim to quit instead of cutting down the cigarettes. And it's never too late to stop smoking. Within 5 to 10 years of quitting, your chance of getting cancer of the mouth drops by half. Similarly, within 10 years of quitting, your chance of getting cancer of the bladder or esophagus or kidney reduces. And again, 10 to 15 years after you quit smoking, your risk of lung cancer drops by 50%. So the earlier the better. There is never a time. So I had a case which actually would tell us how lifestyle medication improvement can help in reducing the symptoms as well as the prognosis of the case. But for lack of time, I will just quickly go through it. Basically, it's a 33-year-old male who was found to have gastrointestinal reflux disease, fatty liver disease, class 1 obesity, obstructive sleep apnea, gut dysbiosis. He was put on PPIs, prokinetics, anti-allergics, managing the obstructive sleep apnea, but lifestyle modification was not much thought of till they went to another physician who put them on a proper diet pattern containing, his diet pattern was like that. He was on an average 0 servings of fruits, 1 serving of vegetable, 1 serving of whole grains, hardly any nuts and seeds. None of it was low-fat dairy products in his diet. So his physical activity is hardly much. He was sleeping 5 to 6 hours per day. Stress level was very high. And the lifestyle diagnosis was he had, again, fatty liver disease, NASH, obstructive sleep apnea, predominantly non-veg processed diet with obstructive sleep apnea, sedentary lifestyle, substance abuse. He was a smoker and perceived stress assessment score of 2. He went to a lifestyle medicine specialist who put him on whole plant-based food diet, physical activity of 150 minutes, smoking cessation, put him on CPAP. Estimated time to achieve this goal was kept at 6 months. And his dietary changes were made as per a dietitian's suggestion. And that's the importance of a dietitian. We have Zamrud with us who will tell us later on what is the importance and how you can change your diet. Sure enough, in a short while, within 6 months, he was doing muscle strengthening exercise. He was walking at pace that he can still speak. He was put on a fitness expert program. And the result was, I think right. So his weight loss was 23 kg. He was off his CPAP. He was off his medications and was able to manage it with just lifestyle disease. That doesn't mean that everybody will be able to reach that level, but it's important to practice lifestyle medicine also along with pharma treatment, but later on a time might come. For example, this is on follow-up after 8 months. His bloating symptoms got completely recovered. He recovered from his parameters. He lost 23 kgs. His liver enzymes settled down. Within 3 months, cholesterol went down. So in summary, cardiovascular diseases account for most NCD deaths. There are these four groups of diseases actually account for 80% of the premature deaths. Tobacco use, physical inactivity, alcohol use, unhealthy diets, air pollution, all increase the risk of dying from NCD. Salt, a lot of it would be talked about. A predominantly plant-based diet appears to be more beneficial. There are 6 pillars of lifestyle medication, and we should try and practice that. John F. Kennedy said that the time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining, not when it is raining heavily. So this is the time for us. If you look at the young people have a lot of time, they have a lot of energy, they have no money. And I don't know whether I'm intermediate or old. Money, yes. Energy, yes. No time. And when you grow old, time is there, money is there, there is no energy. So you should probably focus much earlier. So before I close, I leave you with a toolkit. Monica is very good at making toolkits for all of us. So the toolkit for a healthy living. Move on, please, for heaven's sake, be physically active. Eat less, eat smart, eat sensibly. Follow ICMR NIN guidelines. Sleep well. Calm your mind and build cognitive reserves, yoga, meditation, hobbies, whatever you like. Now, why I'm telling you with all this, you can later on pass it on to your patients. Avoid substance abuse, tobacco, alcohol, drugs. Be aware of your weight and calorie intake. Avoid abnormal environmental exposures, but you can't escape Madras heat. Calculate your CVS and metabolic risk profiles, and there are enough formula available to calculate the metabolic risk profile. Take your vaccinations regularly. Look after your bone health. If you fall down, that's it. In old age, it's better to avoid all falls and all. Screen for cancers, and there are easily screening tests available. Get your medical insurances in place and make your living well. Thank you so much for patient listening.